So UFC Fight Night, Brandon Moreno, Kavanagh just went down over in Mexico City. We just got some new fight announcements coming on with Jack Del Montelena, Carlos Prates headlining in the Australian card in Perth. And then we also have a brawl that broke out in the RAF Wrestling Federation between Armin Saryukian and a famous TikToker who will give people money if they can take him down. But I'm going to go through this card real quick. What I will say off the top of my head is 7 out of 10. Wasn't a great card, wasn't a terrible card. I fell asleep towards the end. But, I mean, there was some really good fights, starting off with Damian Pinas versus Wes Schultz. I had Pinas winning this fight. He was very explosive. As soon as the bell rang, he had a presence, he had the pressure. He found the straight shots. All he needed was a straight 1-2. Wes Schultz didn't want to be a part of there. He should be cut from the UFC. He shouldn't even be a part of it. 5 strikes throughout the entirety of the fight, throwing out Imanari rolls out of nowhere. Bad showcase. Next up, Eric Silva, Francis Marshall. Francis Marshall was able to get most of, basically just one of his takedowns, and then right afterwards he was able to get the submission halfway through the first round. I did have Eric Silva trying to win this one based off of him being a veteran in the game, but little did I know Francis Marshall, prospect of the American top team down in Florida, moved down there to go get better in MMA, so he's going to be a good prospect in the featherweight division. Do I think he's going to be top 10? No, but he's going to be interesting nonetheless. Next up, Ernesta versus Regina. I think I had Regina winning this one, and I will say probably one of the best women's fights I've seen in the past couple of years. It was a very poorly technical fight, but I mean it was a good fight nonetheless. They were able to throw shots back and forth. Regina was able to get most of the combinations towards the end of the fight, and towards the end of the combinations too, and able to eke out a unanimous decision towards the end, 29-28. Might have even been 30-27. Up next, we had Javier Reyes versus Douglas Silva de Andrade. A little controversial. There was a moment where Douglas De Silva was laying straight down, face down on the canvas, and Javier Reyes was raining down punches with, I'd say, around 6 seconds to go. And the entire time, Andrade is just, putting up a thumbs up, I'm good. And Herb Dean calls it off at the last second of the round. A lot of people are calling it an early stoppage. I don't think so. He wasn't trying to advance position, wasn't trying to do anything to further the fight. He was giving up from that point, and it was kind of just one-way traffic the entirety of the fight. So it's going to be interesting to see Javier Mendez in the featherweight division too. Honest to God, I feel like it should be Javier Reyes versus Marshall. Match them both up. I feel like they'd be great prospects to put up against each other. Other than that, we got next up, God darn it, we got Chris Moutinho and Christian Quinones. I will say pretty bad showing from Christian Quinones. Very good style, but very boring style. It's almost like MVP, where he's in a bladed karate stance, throws a couple of potting shots here and there, throws a really powerful straight, but if it doesn't connect, he'll back out of range and then get on his bike for 15 seconds. Nothing really happened throughout the entirety of the fight. He was able to get most of his takedowns, which is interesting to see. But up against a guy like Chris Moutinho, I mean, I don't know where it's going to stand with the top 15 in the bantamweight division, but it is interesting to see. I think he should definitely get a top 20, maybe even a top 15, depending on how they look at this fight. But either way. Up next, we had Alan Perez versus Macy Chasson. Alan Perez got it done. She did have a couple of scares here and there. It wasn't as exciting as the other women's fight, but, those are going to be 1 in a million at this point. But she was able to get it done. I really did think that the height was going to be a big disadvantage for her, but she was able to get within the reach, get into the clinch, and able to take her down a couple of times, especially with those trips on the side of the cage. She was definitely able to get a lot of takedowns from there. But do I see her going far in the bantamweight division? No. Do I see her going far if she cut down to flyweight? Yes, but then she'd be losing her best asset. So, but it's interesting to see. It's interesting to see in the bantamweight division, and also to see how shallow it is in the division, because people were thinking Macy Chasson was going to be a very big prospect in the division, including myself, but unfortunately not. Next up, Ryan Gandra and Jose Daniel Medina. This one was a very quick fight. Jose Medina did not throw a single shot. Well, he threw three, but he didn't land a single shot. As soon as the bell started, he covered up, went straight towards the cage. Ryan Gandra was able to just pile on a lot of his shots. He was very explosive, and Herb Dean called it off almost immediately. Yeah, I mean, they sent a prospect and a guy who's 13-8. What else did people expect? Up next, Santiago Luna and Angel Pacheco. This one was a very interesting boxing match. There wasn't really much grappling. There was a little bit here and there, but there wasn't really anything. Actually, let me check. How much was there of... Yeah, there was a big diversity in strikes for Lima, with 97 to the head, 30 to the body. But there was barely any leg kicks throughout the rounds. And it was mostly by distance. So, I mean, it was very interesting to see. Give Santiago Luna somebody in the top 15, maybe a Marcus McGee, some powerhouse, to see how he does up against somebody who's going to put him up against some real pressure and some real power. Up next, Kevin Borjas and Emmanuel Rodriguez. I honestly didn't see this fight. I was over to grab dinner real quick, and I didn't see this fight, but I did see a couple of moments where he was on top throughout it. Possibly towards the end was able to throw a couple of shots, but a really good prospect in the flyweight division. We need a lot of those, especially considering we got Tatsuro Taira going up against Joshua Van now for the belt. But it's interesting. Good to see. Good to see. Next up, Felipe Burns versus Edgar Chairez. I think I had Edgar Chairez winning this one. He barely got it done. Felipe Burns outscored him throughout the entirety of the fight, but I think it was Edgar Chairez that did it throughout the ground game. Was it the ground game? Oh, so yeah, it was the third and second round that were very close, but the first round definitely went to Felipe Burns. So it could have gone either way. I mean, it did go Chairez's way, probably due to where it was located, Mexico City. They wanted a Mexican fighter to win on the card. So, I mean, he's what, 34, 35, get him somebody in the top 10, top 5, try to get him up to a title. If not, cut him. Next up, we finally have the King Green going up in the win column up against Daniel Zellhuber. My word. I don't think anybody expected this. He was able to mix in his takedowns. He was very unorthodox in his stance and the way that he used his head movement, potting his shots. I don't think Zellhuber was ready for that, and I also don't think he was ready for this type of spotlight this quickly. Being in Mexico City, being one of the top Mexican fighters, I think everybody was looking forward to seeing him, including himself, performing there, and it probably got the best of him throughout the fight. It does suck for the lightweight division because now we get to see King Green go back into the top 10 to where he'll probably lose again. And then we'll see Zellhuber have to fight like 2 or 3 more fights to get back up into the top 10, top 15. But, I mean, it was a good showing. It was a good showing from King Green, especially to see in his age he can still get it done. Because I'm pretty sure if he was to lose here, he'd probably be going to Misfits. Next up, we had David Martinez versus Marlon Vera. David Martinez, I have to be honest, I thought completely wrong of this guy. I thought he was good. He is great. Able to mix in both his grappling and the strikes throughout the entirety of the fight. Able to use his footwork. Able to use movement. What were they? What were the targets in the clinch? Barely anything in the clinch. Everything was from distance. It just seemed like Cheeto Vera just didn't show up for the fight, which is a usual for him now. Ever since that Sean O'Malley fight, and I'd even go all the way back to the, what is it? I believe the Piotr Jan, either Piotr Jan, Corey Sanhagen, or Marab fight, where he just wasn't the same. He's now too patient. He needs to go over to boxing. He needs to go somewhere else. MMA is just not for him at this point. He's not going to be going back up into the top 5 unless a miraculous matchup between him and Marcus McGee or somebody in the top 5 that just gets him a title shot, but there's no way. So I think he should explore different avenues. I think David Martinez should get a top 5 opponent. And here we go to the main event. In all honesty, very close fight, but a snoozer. It was a snoozer. Brandon Moreno just basically got his face smashed in for most of the fight. You could see throughout it the bumps and lumps that went on the side of Moreno's cheeks, face, chin. He was just eating up shots. It seemed as though his shell that he usually has, his boxing shell, just did not hold up against the power of Kavanagh. Not only that, but the leg kicks. The leg kicks were a problem for Brandon Moreno. By the end of it, I'm pretty sure Moreno had his calf about twice the size of what it is right now, which is damning to see that he went 5 full rounds with this. So with this, I feel like he should get a top 10, top 15 opponent, get somebody to get him back into the win column, or feed him to a prospect. And I think Loner Kavanagh should probably get the loser of Tatsuro Taira, Joshua Van. Either that or Manel Cap. Because I think that would be a great fight. So anyways, that's my little breakdown on this. I'm going to break these down in a different video real quick and then submit that. So I guess I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.